This is Alfredo Martinez and Ikela Morningstar. Welcome to DreamCatcherz, episode 3. I'm Alfredo Martinez, and of course I have Ikela Morningstar with me. And yes, we're just in a good mood, which is why we've kind of got the giggles starting off. We decided to make this week's topic spiritual direction. And so spiritual direction is a topic that I think is very interesting because, there's so many ways that people think, they can assume they're being led, but they're not. And there are different ways to be sure. Me personally, I'll consult my spirits and they'll let me know pretty soon. I mean, sometimes they'll let me know right the next day with a straight up, here you go. And that's, but I mean, what do you think are ways that people can be mistaken as far as being led?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I kind of feel like not tapping into your intuition, and kind of just believing what you read off face value, or just taking one type of area, or listening to someone that you really look up to. Like it could be someone like, high up in the occult community or something like that. I mean, you got to be real watchful because there's a lot of false people out there leading people into the wrong direction. So I feel it's kind of all about knowing yourself.
Yeah, it is. And I think really what it comes down to is being spiritually in tune. Because once you've been being led or working with certain spirits for a while, you'll get to know them and their personalities, and you'll know for sure whether they're throwing something at you like, hey, here it is, here's a hint, like, hey, I'm telling you this way, I'm telling you that way. If you're not paying attention, you'll miss those. But if you are, and you know your spirits, you'll catch on. That's the way I see it. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I definitely think being in tune with your spirits or guardians or whoever you deal with, and also I kind of feel like it's a learning experience. So I don't know for you, but for me, getting where I'm at with my spirituality has been trying stuff out without knowing how to do it or what the outcome is going to be, and finding what works for you. And so, like, you don't necessarily have to take someone's complete ideas. You can rewrite your own and incorporate those things into it. And honestly, keeping a good log of that, seeing how you feel when you do it, because we've all made mistakes, and anyone who says they haven't made any mistakes is full of shit. I'm sorry, but
right.
we make mistakes, and so those are how we kind of build out which way we want to go. I think it's important in my own personal view, I believe we all create our own spiritual path, and it's not one way. And so it's really hard to put a label on that because there really is no label for it, And so
it's go ahead.
Nope.
No, I was gonna say it's important you mentioned that everyone eventually creates their own way, because if you what you don't want to do is take everything at face value. There are some people that they'll, like, take for instance, I'll give you an example, someone who reads a book from a certain author and they get some groundbreaking information that helps them on their path. Okay, great. But then every successive book that author will put out, some people may put 100% faith in everything they say just because they got a breakthrough with one idea they said. Well, I believe at that point you should still take things at face value and question everything you read, and not 100% put 100% faith in just one particular person who's an author or one particular spiritual group. Because I think that once you do that, you can miss out, and there's so much more that can be gained. And I think that's how you reach your individuality as far as spiritualism goes, because it's about finding your own way. It's about finding your own path. Therefore, each path to each person is unique, and each relationship with a spirit that someone has is unique to them. It's like if I have like say I have a friend here and a friend here, well, I have a certain personal relationship with each friend. I'm not gonna be one way to both of them, because we have You know, I have a way I am with one friend, I have a way I am with another. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean that's how I am. So, but also what I was thinking about when you were talking was that just a little suggestion for anybody out there watching. If you are getting spells from other people, or you're reading them in a book or getting them online, I just want to make a friendly suggestion that I think it waters down your own magic when you do somebody else's spell to a T. And I think if you try to incorporate your own thoughts and ideas, whether I always write all my incantations, and I think that is really important because it's your intention. So even if you
Mhm.
get a certain spell that's, supposed to be a binding spell or whatever it is, if there's an incantation, decide to write your own. Like write what you want your intentions
Mhm.
to be, and switch it up. If they say this herb or that candle, switch it up a little bit. Like what resonates with you? Like what does red symbolize for you? So, I think that's
Mhm.
really important that we don't take everything at that face value. We incorporate our own ideas and thoughts, because what a red candle means to me might mean something completely different for you. And that's what we're doing,
Mhm.
is we're tapping into that subconscious mind. So whatever symbol, and we've talked about this before, symbols, is that it might mean something different to me. So if I'm writing a certain symbol or putting that in the spell, it's going to have a more powerful intent based off of how you incorporate that into there. So,
Right. And what people realize is once they've been a magician for so long and walking the path for so long, that it's going to get a lot easier to create your own spells.
mm-hmm.
It's you'll just be able to eventually get to the point to where you look at the supplies that you have on hand and say, okay, what can I do with this? And you'll be able to piece them together, and therefore, you create your own style that is specific to you. Like you had mentioned, creating your own incantations, creating your own jingles. That I think that that goes a long way. And also, since magic is about affecting the subconscious mind, I think that your subconscious mind will work with you better if it comes from your own subconscious and not someone else's. That's a very good point that you made. Instead of, like you had mentioned earlier, about that word being occultish, like you had said.
That's why we were laughing, guys, because I had said that word to him.
Yeah.
I think I said it with quotes like this.
Somehow it became an inside joke where it's
Yeah,
like,
no, and we
you're
were laughing.
spiritual,
I
but
was
you're
trying
not
to calm
spiritual.
down.
Yeah, it's all fun and games. We
Yeah,
laugh with
yeah.
what?
I wasn't sure if this was going to be a blooper we're going to cut out, but we're just going to post it,
We'll
whatever.
just leave it in. We'll just leave it in. Just go with the flow. You
Yeah.
know. But yeah. As far as and everyone, I think, can have a certain timing on that. I think that everybody, once they've been walking the path for so long, yeah, there may be certain things that the spirits will lead them to learn from a certain mentor or a certain author or a certain book or whatever, or group, spiritual group.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually on the path, they'll begin to create their own magic and be able to think for themselves. Now, I believe that even if someone is spiritually advanced, a mentor may be necessary. Certain spiritual direction may be necessary because we're always growing.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
We never stop growing. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything off the top of my head right now as far as spiritual direction goes. Do you have anything else you want to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny as I was thinking about things a lot lately, and it's funny how in our spiritual path, we start to go through our own spiritual changes, and it's like you're going along, right? And I don't know if you can relate to this, where all of a sudden things start to get shooken up, and all of a sudden you're doing something out of repetitious. Like maybe every morning you drink a cup of coffee, but now all of a sudden you find yourself, you're drinking that cup of coffee, and that cup of coffee doesn't taste the same. It's almost like you're drinking that cup of coffee because it's what you always do, but it just feels like something's changing. And I think that's a really good
Right.
time when we need to really observe, because those changes are happening because we're leveling up to that next level, and we need to make some changes in our own life. And I've been personally
Yeah.
kind of
One.
doing things like with that, and I have. It's funny because this time is completely different than it was any other time before, and it's just having to really pay attention and focus and try to do different little things to tap into that. And talking to my guardians and stuff like that. But I know that a lot of us are leveling up right now, and so a lot of changes are happening to you mentally, physically, or spiritually, to where you might be feeling like you're losing your mind, you know, at times. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you relate to what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that once you speak about leveling up, I think that there are certain stages where every practitioner eventually does level up. And what I've noticed personally with me is that once a spirit is leading me in a certain direction, and there are certain things that I need to learn, once I do learn what I need to learn for it to finish up that particular level, me particularly, I'll get deja vu. And what my spirits will tell me is that, okay, your destiny's headed in a certain direction, but you went ahead and learned everything you needed to at that moment. And now you're going the next step. So what that deja vu was us changing direction for you, because now you're being brought into another destiny. Because once you level up, it's like now they say, okay, now go this way. That's been in my experience, but again, not everyone's the same.
I like the way that you put that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because now, I mean, which particular spirit changed the direction of your life, I can't say for sure, but I know that one of them, whether it's your spirit guide or, you know, it could be, you know, someone, another spirit that's high up, but someone that is definitely watching your life, has changed it for the better. It's for the better. Mm-hmm. And change is good. You know, one thing that I've realized is that, you know, change is an enemy to the fool, but a friend to the wise. And if you have been doing everything that your spirits have been advising you to do, it's going to change for the better. But if you've been slacking and you haven't, well, you know, that Saturnian energy is going to kick in and it's going to whip your ass. Yeah. If you're not paying attention, you're going to get your ass whipped. You're going to say, well, why the hell does that happen? And then you're not paying attention. It's going to happen again and again until you get it right. That's just how spirits work. I
know. That's why I'm on edge. I'm like, I ain't trying to get slapped around.
No, you got to pay attention on this path and you'll learn.
Mm-hmm. Keep your eyes wide open at all times.
That's right. You definitely want to do that. And so, all right, well, I guess that about sums things up. We don't really want to mention in particular what topic that we are going to talk about, you know, for the following week. We'll just kind of go with the flow, and, you know, whatever we're feeling, we'll just put that up. But Ikela, is there anything else that you wanted to mention for this video discussion?
No, I think that about sums it up. I mean, kind of touched on a few ideas about getting misled and a little bit of, you know,
I think everything we've touched on that, you know, you'll give them, you know, throughout the week to think about. I think it's going to really help some people out. I think this was meant for some people watching this right now.
Yeah, and you know what? I'd like to hear like any questions or even any thoughts, just because it really helps us to come up with more stuff, or, you know, to touch on different parts of it. Because I mean, we could go on and on and on and on. Like, you can just hit so many different areas with these topics. So we're just trying to kind of keep these ones briefed, you know, just kind of open things up a little bit. So
yeah, like she said, if you have any comments or questions about what we had discussed, just go ahead and leave them in the comments. Yeah, we love your feedback. But yeah, if nothing else, you know, this has been, we'll see you next week. And are you there?
Yeah, but you froze real quick.
Hold on.
Sorry, we're having technical difficulties here.
Okay. All right. Well,
I could hear you, but I couldn't see you.
Okay. Well, we'll just go ahead and wrap this up right now. What's that?
Fine for. No, it's good.
What do you see right now?
Nothing. Okay, I'm just joking. Like, oh yeah, it's a sign.
It is a sign. Yeah, it's a sign. Go on longer. No. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, we'll just wrap this up. It's Alfredo Martinez and Ikela Morningstar from Dark Sorcery. And until then, dark blessings.
Dark blessings.